Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is day 123 of playing chess every day until 2000, and I'm back to 1917. No, I'm actually at 1917, my highest peak ever. And we're playing against someone 1904. Okay, knight to c3. Nimzo Indian or d5? d5. And here we take, and after it takes, we put the bishop on g5. And now either bishop to e7, knight to d7, one of these two, okay. Now we generally want to play bishop to d3, queen to c2, castle queenside, and start the pawn storm on the king. Let's go here. Because when they castle, we have a good threat, which is queen to c2. Try to remove the knight to win the pawn. Okay, so now he's attacking my bishop. I don't think his knight will be annoying here. But if I take, the bishop will take. I'll play queen to c2, and then he tries to castle. Knight to f3. I think it's fine. I think we are supposed to take, right? Because we're just here. If I went back to h4, he plays the move g5, which is really not cool. And then bishop to g3. I think I'm going to go back. If I wanted to move the knight, I trade the bishop for the bishop. I won't give the bishop for the knight. And if you play this, weakening his king side because you want to castle this way. So let's see what he does. He castles. We might have bishop to c2 and queen to d3. Bishop to c2, queen to d3, trying to take the knight so that we can checkmate him on h7. I believe that would be a good move. Just wait for him to do something. If he played this is very weakening. He cannot put the knight here because he can just take, attacking his queen, and when he takes back, I think he will be fine because after knight takes, pawn takes, he can actually play this. Because after knight to e4 and bishop takes and queen takes, and I take the knight, and after pawn takes, the queen is defending that pawn. And I cannot play queen to g4 because of the bishop, of course. I'm thinking he's going to play knight to d7, which is very logical. Just developing your knight. Nice. Now, queen to d3 comes with the threat of taking the knight, but since there's another knight here, he will just replace it. But I don't see anything wrong with it, unless you wanted to play the move c5, and after it takes, knight here, attacking my queen. That will be annoying. So I'm just gonna play knight to f3 or knight to e2. Knight to f3, we're controlling that e5 square. Knight to e2, I don't see anything behind it. So let's go knight to f3, developing the knight. But queen to d3 will be hit with the move c5, and c4 will be coming. And if we take, the knight will take. If we can play knight to e5, if knight takes, pawn takes, the knight needs to move. He moves the knight. He moved the knight. So he's attacking my bishop twice. If I take the bishop, he takes here. I take his queen. He takes my queen. And I think I just take with the rook. And after he takes, I mean, the game continues. And if knight takes, he takes here. Where do I want to put the knight? Here. There's no point. Bishop takes. Here. Takes. Bishop takes. Queen takes. And after knight takes, there will be pawn takes. And whenever we try to make a weakness out of it by playing knight to d2, he'll play the move f5. So bishop takes, queen takes, knight takes, pawn takes, knight to d2, f5. We give him this check. And then we just get the queen out in castle. I think that's still fine. Unless he wants to go for complications with knight takes c3. No, he doesn't want to. Playing queen d3 will not help us because of course he's not going to take the knight and checkmate himself. After queen d3 there will be the move f5, which is really annoying. So I think we take, but I don't know if to take with the bishop or with the knight. Bishop takes, pawn takes. The thing is, I can play knight to d2 and after the move f5, I can get the queen out. But he can play the move f5. So how about takes? He plays this. I go back. The move f5 will be happening no matter what. Knight takes, pawn takes. Knight here, f5. Check with the bishop. King moves. Queen to c2. And then trying to castle. I think that knight takes knight is the best, right? Bishop takes, pawn takes, queen to c2. No. Bishop takes, pawn takes, knight to d2, and there will be the move f5 to defend everything. Knight takes, pawn takes, knight to d2, f5, g4. He'll play something like this, takes. I think my knight is strong, so I don't want to give the knight. Bishop takes, pawn takes, knight to d2, f5, g4, giving away the pawn so that when takes, we take like this. I think I'm gonna take with the knight. He will take, and knight to d2, attack twice, f5, check, king, queen to c2, and well, the game continues. But f5 seems weakening of his king. Bishop to b3, I mean, he can just go king here. And if you want to target it, like let's say he played the move f5. No, knight here. Why? I can now play queen to b1. I'm not winning the pawn because there's bishop to f5. But we can play the move f3 then. And if takes, we pick up the bishop and he gives me a check. And I go here, no more checks, but my king will never be castled. So queen to b1, trying to win the pawn. Bishop to f5, f3. I'm threatening to take. That's a mistake. I'm 100% sure that's a mistake. He needed to play the move f5. Can I play queen to b1? 3 attackers, 2 defenders. He needs to, but he can play rook to e8. This is something that I did not see. I was only thinking about bishop to f5. But queen to b1, rook to b8, knight takes, that will be losing. And also putting the queen on a very bad square. Playing queen to e2, he will try to attack me with the bishop and stop me from castling queenside. So I'm just going to play h3, stop the bishop from going to g4. Maybe going knight to c4 and knight to e5. Only if there's no knight here. You can always go back and trade it. And he's up 4 minutes. Almost. Yeah, queen to b1 actually works only if he only has one move, which is bishop to f5. And then we can play the move f3 and win the pawn for sure. But after queen to b1, there's rook to e8. 3 defenders like this. And I cannot play the move f3 making use of anything because the bishop will be here. But since the rook will be there and he's not going to play bishop to f4, bishop to f5, that means the queen on b1 is a bad move. But I'm still not sure why he played knight to f6. We really want to play the move f5. Because you don't want to defend the pawn with pieces. You want to defend it with another pawn. And we cannot play the bishop to b3, trying to pin the knight if the knight moved, because he can play bishop to e6, and after bishop takes, queen takes. Then he will have a chance to move the pawn. Yeah. b6. He's thinking that I want to castle kingside, so he wants to stop me from castling kingside. Should I castle kingside? I think I should. But castling kingside, my pieces are not close to the king. So how about queen here, trying to castle queenside, and attack with f3 and open up some lines and put the rooks on f and g file. I like that. Let's go for it. I don't think I need to castle kingside because my pieces are right here. So my king will be safer behind the pieces. Instead of putting the king here, well, he can potentially sack the bishop to open up my king in some cases. And actually castling queenside and playing the move f3, and after he takes, we can take with the pawn so that we can open up for the rook on d1 to put it on here. Okay. So now he sensed that I want to castle queenside. Now he's trying to attack. We can play knight here, attacking the pawn. If he push, we actually play knight to b6. The rook needs to move, and then we can take the bishop. That could be good. So this move, what can he do? He cannot push, because that will be a fork. Sorry, that will be just an attack on the rook and the bishop, and I will take the bishop. Because now this move is actually possible. Oh, we cannot play knight to c4, sorry, because of bishop to a6. This is why he played the move. He wanted to protect the bishop. And now, of course, we cannot cancel. That's a blunder. So how about bishop to b3, bishop to a6, bishop to c4, pawn to b5, pawn here. He plays this, and after here, he can push the pawn again and attack my queen. So I think now we have to castle queenside, bishop to a6, and queen to e1, and trying to go for this push. I believe that's okay. Even if it doesn't do anything, he wants to play it. I mean, you're activating the bishop on a good square. Why the hell you will not play it? The other LB move that we have is actually queen to e1. We just have to be careful for these two pawns. I want to play the move f3. After takes, we can take with the knight, opening up for the queen. But I want to play f3 so that when he takes, I take with the pawn, trying to open up for the rooks, trying to attack on this side. Here, 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 and then pawns can always protect each other, and I can always go for the e5, e4 push. Okay, so after f3 takes, he wants to win the pawn. f3 takes. Okay. My piece is a little bit bad, and I have to protect the pawn. I cannot play knight to f1 because he will just take it. But I can play knight to f1, and then knight to g3, so that we can play something like this. And here, and if he takes, I mean, you're giving me your strong bishop. Yeah, let's go knight to f1, opening up for the rook, opening up for the queen. They're trying to go knight to g3, keep attacking this pawn, and potentially attack the queen. And the queen will be good on, yeah. Just made this move for what? He wants to play this, so I can just drop back or play bishop here to pin the pawn. I think knight to g3 now will be useful. He cannot play the move f5. He cannot play this actually because we can just take. After this, we go here. He goes back, and then what? We cannot attack the queen because of this. So will he go back? Or no, this move is not possible because he will lose a pawn in the process. But now he can actually play it. Bishop to d3, bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes, knight to b4, rook back, and he wins the pawn. He can actually play it. I guess. After takes, we play first a3, and he cannot defend the pawn. And going knight to b4, I take, he takes with a check, I go king to b1, knight goes back. But the problem that we will only have one pawn against 3, so this will be very bad. And we're trying to take the pawn so that we can get back to trade the bishops, and we will have a very good position, but we have to play the move a3 first, stop the knight from getting in. And if you played it right away, I'm not sure if I have to play bishop to b1, then play a3 and win the pawn, or what. And there's also the move knight to f5, but I don't think it does anything. Only if my queen was able to go to g3, that would have been cool, but we cannot go there. And the bishop is very strong, so I think this pawn needs to get the hell out of here. We cannot play the move f3 because if takes, we drop the pawn. So if he played knight to b4, I think the move we have to take this. He takes with a check, king to b1, knight back. And then we just get back to f3, bishop to f3, try to go here, because after takes, we would have good position. With a weak pawn here. Let's see. I really want to win this. I think I can win this. Yeah. 1917. We will get to 1920, 1926 if we win this. Why? He just went back. He's just so afraid to lose the pawn. Okay. So playing knight to f5. Queen here, I think, will be the move. We play the move g4. He attacks my knight. He cannot. He loses the pawn, and we can drop back. So I think a move like knight to f5 will be useful. He cannot maybe go here because of takes, knight here. This pawn is annoying, and I need to take it somehow. Cannot play the move f3 because if takes, we're dropping the pawn on e3. So f3, pawn takes, queen takes with a check, queen takes here, and the pawn will be hanging as well. So knight to f5. Let's just play a normal move. Let's make a move that attacks the queen. Let him think a little bit. Okay, so the queen moves there. Now if he played the move g4, he will take me here, I believe. But then we get the queen out. He plays a check. We move here, attacking his queen, and he will be in some kind of trouble. So I think we can play this move. Let's go for it. g4. I don't think he can take the pawn on a2. Wait. Queen takes a2. Queen to c3. Queen check. King to d2. And the queen cannot go here because of my bishop. Cannot go here because of the pawn. Cannot take because of the queen is defending. But after queen takes a2, queen to c3, queen check, king to d2, there is a knight to d5 attacking my queen. So he played it right away. Why do I want to play queen to d8, queen to c3? Because I want to play bishop to b3, attacking this and also adding some trouble to this pawn. Oh yeah, queen to d3, sorry, queen to c3, knight here. We'll just go there after takes. Yeah, we drop the pawn. That's not supposed to happen, but it happens. Here, check, here. I believe we have to go queen to c3. Giving a check, I think he will be in trouble because of king to d2. And then he can play knight here, but then we can just take the queen, and after he takes me, I won the knight for it. So I'll be up 2 points if he played the check. But I don't think he's going to play it. I think he's going to play knight to d5, which is the most reasonable. After I take the pawn, he can actually go rook here. And I cannot sack the queen when he takes. I play a check and this because there's a bishop defending. So I could have, sacrificed the queen for the 2 rooks, but because of the bishop is supporting that square after the rook attacks me, he played the move. Very nice. Queen takes c6. Queen takes c6, there will be rook to c8, 100%. And only if I can take this knight, queen takes, there will be a fork. So if queen takes, actually blocking with this rook is a blunder because we can take the knight, and after he takes, we can play a check and pick up the queen. But after this move, it's a blunder to go there, so he will go rook to c8, rook a c8. And after queen takes, rook a c8, yeah, then we will be in trouble. So playing queen to b3, queen takes, bishop takes, and then the game continues. Yeah, we completely blunder the pawn in the process. I wish that I can play this. I really wish that. And he blunders like rook to c8, but then after queen takes here, maybe he can sack the rook. And I have to take. He'll give me some kind of a check. Move away, another check, I go here. I think I'll be safe. But after queen takes c6, I have no guarantee that he will play rook ec8. So here, he will play rook ac8. And I cannot take the knight because the rook is still defending that square for the check. I think we're forced to go here. Takes. and the game needs to continue. And if queen to b3, check here, the queen will be in big trouble. So we have to go here. Yeah, we messed it up. We lost the pawn. I thought if I managed to get the knight there and the bishop active, it's okay to lose the pawn, but I don't know. Now he is forced to take my queen. He cannot play the check on a1 because of king to d2. The queen is hanging, and it doesn't have any more checks. He's losing the game. He needs to take. And after bishop takes, we want to play this move actually. Attacking the rook and attacking the pawn. Yeah, he took. If he moved the knight, we would have knight to d6, attacking this, attacking this, attacking this, and the bishop will be active. But 3-on-1 is, shit. Yeah, we're not supposed to lose that pawn. Am I really thinking about taking the pawn? Taking the knight? If he takes, at least I'm separating the 3 pawns, so he will only have 2 versus 1. Which is still a winning pawn endgame. So I think we're not supposed to trade. Blaine move knight to d6. He will just attack me. And if we take here, he can just take... I think we have to move the king to b1 and get the rook on c1 and have some counterplay. But king to b1, bishop to d3, the bishop is pain in the ass. Why? Oh my god. Why? There was no reason to do that whatsoever. He wants to give the pawn away. Bishop takes, I understand that he want to have some kind of discovery on my rook and the bishop, but after bishop takes here and bishop to e2, I just take this pawn attacking his rook. He plays something like this, and I just go, oh wait, bishop here, takes rook, pitting my bishop. So how about taking here? He will take. Okay, what about bishop takes? He's gonna play bishop to e2. And I think we're gonna play rook to e1. He actually takes the bishop, and if I take, there will be this check, and I have to move the king up and I'll lose the rook. So bishop takes, bishop to e2, rook to d2, still rook takes. I take here, he plays this check, and I have to move up and I'll lose the rook. So yeah, this move is winning for him. Bishop to e2 will be winning. But what about this and bishop to e2 and I don't move the rook? I take this pawn. Well, the problem with that, I get my bishop pinned, and this move is always possible. So I don't think we can take. Yeah. So should I take his knight? He will take with the pawn. That will open up for his rooks. Bishop takes, pawn takes. We can play knight here, stopping the rook from giving a check. But only if we can play it now. How about playing this move now? He will attack me, and I'll play this. Hold on. Knight to d6. Now he can just take, and after takes, he just won 2 pieces for the rook. Taking is not possible. Playing bishop here is, I think it's fine, because we can play this and win the pawn later. So I think we need to draw back. It's very stupid to let, open up lines for his rooks. He needs to be careful. Knight to d6 will be on the board. I'll be attacking his rook and the pawn, and I'll win the pawn, and he wouldn't have any advantage anymore. Unless, 3-on-1. He's aiming for my bishop. Okay. I can attack his rook, and then I can take this. Attack his rook. He plays some kind of a check. I take, bishop takes, and I take his rook. So I think we can play this. He attacks me whatsoever, and I just take here. He takes me. No, wait. If knight here, he plays rook to e6. I take this pawn. He can take my bishop. Hold on. Knight to d6, rook to e6, and knight takes. There will be knight takes bishop, removing the defender. After takes, he will win the knight. And here he will play this check. I take, and then he takes. But then we can play something like this. I think that's the move. Bishop here, unless he played bishop to d3. Unless. Because bishop to d3 I cannot take because of this check, and I'll lose the pawn here, and that will be a fork. So bishop here. He wants to take, and after takes he will put the knight here. Yeah. Allowing this pawn here, it's like the biggest mistake ever. Yeah, I don't know how it actually happened here. From this position, where I took the knight, and I allowed the pawn in, and I didn't do anything to the pawn. Yeah. So my mistake is keeping this pawn on the board. Keep what? That's not the best move. Because I will take. Taking with the pawn is tragic. I'm just going to take like this. Bishop takes, we play f3. If he takes, he loses the bishop. If pawn takes, the pawn is in my position, so I can easily try to target it somehow. I don't know how, but the pawn will never be pushed. I mean, it's looking at my rook. Yes, that's the move, but I don't think it's correct because of f3. Let's play f3. Oh, f3, there is bishop to e2. I move and he takes. We can play this move attacking the rook, and we can just take here. Let's play this move. We cannot take actually, he can take with the bishop. Just trying to gain some time. The best move for him is to actually play a3. That's not the way to go, but now we're threatening a fork. He needs to be careful. He cannot play this. Check, take here. And yes, things will be open up, but he needs to stop this. Oh my goodness. I cannot take because of this, so I let him take. But what about check here? Takes, push. That's a pain in the ass. So how about takes? The rook will take 100%. I give a check. He moves here. I take, and the knight will be pinned. Let's go here. He will take. Should I go here? Well, he will double up. And then I can play a check and take this pawn. After any check, we'll be in trouble. So maybe run away. Maybe here. Giving this check, no, it's not possible. Going here. I think going here is the best. Why? Because after he doubles up, I play rook to a1. And I'm telling him, you know what? Let's trade everything. Because I only have this check to win the pawn, so he needs to be careful not to draw this game. I will take. So either take me or you get the hell out of here. He cannot get the hell out of here. He needs to take. And after rook takes, king takes, he needs to be careful because that will be a check and I pick up the pawn. And my king is very close to the pawns, stopping them. And I think we would have a game. He cannot play this, he will lose the pawn, but after this we cannot give this check. After this we need to go here and this. What is that? He wants to give me some checks. I think we take you first. And then we give a check and pick up this. Yeah, I have no idea why he dropped the pawn. No freaking clue. He was winning, but he was just trying to play on my time. This is what happens when you try to play on someone's time. You lose. And now the rook will be on a1, and we're gonna have a beautiful draw, unless something tricky happened. Now the rook is hanging, so he plays a check. I think We go here? No. Here? Yeah, it says we go king to c3. King to c3. Why? Because we want to open up for the rook. I think this move is possible. There are no more checks. He cannot play this. Yes. Let's go here. And rook to a1 will be on the board, and that will be literally checkmate because the king cannot go here. So he needs to be careful. And also there will be the move f3. If you take, I can pick up the bishop. Yeah, he slipped the game out of his hand. Like, why did he do that? The mistake, I guess... Where is the mistake that he made? I think he played it too fast. Yeah, I think that was his mistake. He needed to take. Yeah. That's the mistake. He needed to take, and after rook takes, king takes, then he would have pushed the pawn or done something. Yeah, that was his mistake. He needed to take the rook, and my mistake, I blundered the pawn. So now we're equal. I mean, f3 is a move. Rook to a1, I love it more because I will have an active rook. He cannot attack my knight unless he moves the king. I play rook to a1. He goes king here, but I can play a check and I can pick up a pawn in the process. He needs to be very careful. A good thing he doesn't have any checks. That's a very beautiful thing. I think he's going to move his king. And after rook to a... You want to trade the rooks. That's actually very, very, very smart or dumb. Rook takes, bishop takes, king here. How can you defend the pawn? How can he defend the pawn? I don't think he can defend the pawn. Oh, you idiot. Fork and attacking the bishop. This is a fork. And I'm gonna take and get the king in, and I would have two passers, and my king will obviously... Oopsie. I'm gonna cook you, boy. I'm gonna fucking cook you. Another check, trying to attack the bishop one more time. But he will go here maybe. If I manage to get the king on c5, bye-bye. Bye-bye, boy. Bye-bye. King here, you know, a red carpet for the pawn. What did he do? Why he did not take my rook when I offered the trade? Yeah. He needed to trade the rooks and protect the pawn by playing bishop to b5. After this check, I cannot take his pawn. But yeah, he blundered, we all blunder. After this check, he needs to go here. I play this move and he goes here. We need to get the king here. So that after this check, here, this, yeah. We need to put the king here and here. And he cannot put the bishop here to stop the pawn. He needs to go to put the king. He cannot even put the king here. So king here, king here, king here. And I push, and figure out a way to reroute the knight to give a check. What he needs to do, that's beautiful. King here, he will take. King here, he will take. Give him a check, he'll move away. Another check, he'll move away. And I don't have this because the bishop can sacrifice itself. We have to be careful. Giving this check, he will go here. Pushing here. I think we can push. And when he goes here, we just play this, takes. But the bishop will be active. Yeah, the bishop will be active. Let's go for this. Takes. The king will get close. And the bishop will always be ready to sacrifice itself. Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful resource for him. Nice move. But this, what can I do too? Why? Check here, another check, he loses the bishop, so let's give him a check. Trying to go here to stop the king from ever getting to the pawn. That's beautiful, and also attacking the bishop. Okay. Can we do that now? I think we can do it and earn some time. Now the king will never get close. Silly move, defending himself. I think here he'll play this. Let me go here, having opposition or something like that. We need to do something. We need to reroute the knight like this. What is that? So if I take, he will take. And how can you defend the pawn after knight here? What is he doing? Why are you giving me pawns? Why are you giving me pawns? How can you defend after this move? You cannot defend the pawn. Which one is better? Here? I think they are the same thing. I think they are the same thing. He lost the second pawn. Bro, the game was in his hands, but it slipped away because he did not take the damn rook on a1. Because he knew if we traded both of the rooks, it might end up in a draw, even though he's up a pawn. It might end up in a draw. And he was like, I don't want to draw, and now he's losing. So, what is that, boy? What is that? What is that? Now, king to e5, taking here, and that will be light out after king here. Attack. Take. And he cannot take me. He resigned. 1925. Oh my god, bro. He was winning. He was completely winning this. Wow. 1925. My highest rating ever. And I won 9 games in a row. 9 rabbit games in a row. That's crazy. I bet with an 88.3. Okay, let's go. d4. Knight to f6. Playing that. Opening. Okay. So all of this is opening books. Opening book move. Actually, it's best not to give the bishop, which is really nice. Okay. Nice. Taking is fine, but that was the mistake. I allowed the pawn to be in my face, and I did not attack it. Oh my god, it's actually the best move. Queen to b1. That's crazy. I was supposed to castle king side, but then this move, and here, that was a miss. I had to go for f3. Shut up. I needed to take the pawn. That's so stupid from the engine to tell me that. Here, look at that. In this position, I have to take the pawn. Of course, I'm gonna deeply analyze the game after, because here I'm just gonna look at the moves. Here. Yeah, see, the knight check was not the best, I guess. Here, I attacked him, went back. That was his mistake, because after takes, this, here, here, I'm 100% sure he needed to take the rook. Fuck yeah, I know chess. He needed to take the rook. But after I took and I gave them the check, I mean, I got you, boy. And here, I mean, why? Why are you trading the... I mean, you're not looking at my king getting closer to your pawn. But here, it's actually, wait. I had to go with knight here to stop the bishop from going there so that I can move the king and get to the pawn. Yes, that's a way to go for it, but after I played this, he moved back, played the check, and I pick up the pawn. King here is fine, playing this. Takes, knight here. He was supposed to get the king in, try to create some kind of play. But, yeah. Here he made another mistake. Why are you giving me pawns, boy? And I took, and this is completely winning. And after this, I took another pawn, and he resigned. 1925. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we made some mistakes. We did not blunder, even though, but he had a lot of winning possibilities. He needed to take the rook, and I would be cooked then. And also this knight move, which I had to be careful about. Where it is? Where is it? Where? Oh, you shitty computer. Here. I needed to go knight to b4 to stop the bishop from being active. And actually, king to b2 will actually win a pawn, because after the bishop goes there and I take and he takes, I can just get the king here and take the pawn. But that would allow some counter play. I don't want that. So I just moved the king here. I played this move. But the only way for him to actually do something here is to go bishop here. So he's defending the pawn by attacking my pawn here. And when I move, he can push it, and then he would be in a good shape. Yeah, but he missed it, and I took the pawn, and now it's completely losing for him. Wow. I came back from a losing position. That's very nice. Thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow.